What is up, everybody? Solomon here. Happy Tuesday. Huge news from a regulation standpoint came out today. But diving a little bit deeper into this, there are multiple things that kind of line up that lead me to believe that this has been coming for quite a long time, and Ripple has been tied directly into this announcement today for quite a long time. So if you see any scam ads on this video, please do not participate in that. Now, this is coming from the Conference of State Bank Supervisors today. And they are announcing this one company, one exam for nationwide payments firms. Money transmitters operating in 40 or more states will benefit from streamlined state supervision in 2021. Conference of State Bank Supervisors, or CSBS, announced today that the launch of a state-initiated program whereby national payment firms will undergo a single comprehensive exam to satisfy all state regulatory requirements, known as MSB Networked Supervision. The initiative will apply to 78 of the nation's largest payments and cryptocurrency companies that combined move more than $1 trillion a year in customer funds. Now, reading through this, just to kind of give a quick summation of what this basically sounds like, it's almost if a payments firm is regulated in one state or approved or passes this exam in one state, they will essentially have a passport whereby they don't have to qualify for registration in another state. They can just use that one state passport to essentially operate across state borders, almost as kind of what the OCC is trying to do as this national non-bank financial institution fintech charter, which they were trying to do for a while. Now, I do personally believe that Ripple is 100% going to be one of these firms. And if you dig a little bit deeper into this, we will see why. Now, I do want you to pay attention to this here, okay? This initiative that just was announced today through the CSBS was an outcome of the FinTech Industry Advisory Panel through CSBS. And you will see the members of that panel here shortly, which emphasized the need to increase multi-state exam coordination. And also, pay attention to this verbiage here. Soliciting and implementing industry recommendations is part of CSBS Vision 2020, a collective of initiatives driving towards a networked system of non-bank licensing and supervision. All right, we can see this right here. This is just the main announcement here, and just a brief overview again, but I already read through that. Interestingly enough, this is from the U.S. Department of the Treasury, a financial system that creates economic opportunities. Many of you may have seen this. This is from 2018 in July. Non-bank financials, fintech, and innovation. This is a report to President Donald J. Trump, Executive Order 13772. And interesting that this is directly talking into the Treasury supporting Vision 2020. We just saw Vision 2020. An effort by the Conference of State Bank Supervisors that includes establishing a FinTech Industry Advisory Panel, which we're going to talk about, who is on that panel, to help improve state regulation, et cetera, et cetera. You get it. Now, this is about passporting here, which is what I just kind of talked about. Establishing a FinTech Advisory Panel that would be a vehicle to provide state regulators important insight on the Vision 2020 and related efforts to improve state regulation. And it does talk, kind of about that, if you qualify in one state, you basically are qualified. Now, one solution that could be accomplished through the Vision 2020 process is the idea of passporting, like I talked about. And reciprocity of state licenses. Such a solution would involve the states harmonizing licensure and supervision laws and regulations, creating a system whereby a licensee in one state could have their home state's license accepted or passported to other states within the reciprocity pact. Passporting represents a path through which states could effectuate a system of licensing that is conducted to national business. A lot of big verbiage there, but basically if you qualify in one state, you may be able to transfer your license over to another state. Interestingly enough, some of you may be aware of this, but participants in this executive order engagement process included a lot of Ripple partners, included R3, and included Ripple themselves as well. So very interesting, very, very interesting. Again, we see just the main news post here today. Now, I did want to go through this, and we're going to get into who sits on that that banking panel that announced this today. This is all the way back in 2015 from Ripple, Regulations and Compliance. Now, we can see right here, Ripple Labs submitted a letter to the Conference of State Bank Supervisors in 2015 regarding the licensing of virtual currency companies. Now, this is this submission back in 2015, okay? Talks about developing a coordinated national standard for registration and licensing of virtual currency related businesses. So it is not just about fintech. This is about using digital assets. This is about using, what do you think Ripple wants to use? Obviously, they want to use XRP. Build upon the existing rules for banks and money transmitters where appropriate. Consider the varying uses of virtual currency to ensure an optimal licensing process. This has nothing to do, I'm sure it has something to do with licensing other payment providers. This very much so has to do with licensing for utilization of virtual currency, e.g. XRP. They talk directly in this letter that they sent to this banking organization, all about the Ripple protocol and all about XRP. Model regulatory framework for virtual currencies. This is March 30th, 2017. This is through the CSBS, who just announced that today. Obviously, we can see down here, there's a Coinbase comment letter, there's a Ripple Labs comment letter, all sorts of comment letters here, right? CSBS, again, to meet this need, CSBS, okay, pain points between states, I'll go through that. Non-bank supervision to transform multi-state regulation for the benefit of the system and consumers. To meet this need, the CSBS developed Vision 2020. We talked about Vision 2020 already. It's all about the verbiage, and they're always using the same verbiage. And this ties back all the way to 2017. A bundle of initiatives driven towards a networked system of non-bank licensing and supervision. Now, to try to put this Vision 2020 into action, they brought together the CSBS FinTech Advisory Panel to identify challenges and bring forth actionable recommendations. Blah, blah, blah. Deloitte, interestingly enough, uses Vision 2020 as their rhetoric. And we're going to tie Deloitte into this video as well because Bluezell has some news today. If you're not aware, Deloitte showcased integration of RippleNet into Temenos via Bluezell. So we can see right here under this Vision 2020 through Deloitte, select example talks directly about Ripple. RTXP, if you're not aware, is Ripple Transaction Protocol. Let's take a look at the CSBS FinTech Industry Advisory Panel. It was obviously very important in bringing this Vision 2020 to fruition. And it was mentioned all throughout that document that we just read from the press release today. All right, we've got Affirm, Alipay, Amazon, BitPay. Go down a little further here. And of course, we have Ripple. So they sit directly on this board, okay? I'm curious what they're doing because we can see Ripple's comment letter to them directly talking about virtual currency. And that's obviously why they're in this group. And they are sitting on the board of this FinTech Advisory Panel for the regulatory news that we just saw come out today. Probably just a coincidence, right? Probably a coincidence that Vision 2020 was mentioned in the briefing of the executive order to the president as well. Probably a coincidence that Ripple had a private meeting with David Schwartz, CTO, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO, and the special assistant to the president, along with Jay Clayton. Yeah, that's a coincidence too. So whatever. All right, Meninga and Nexi to develop portfolio of digital banking offerings. We are seeing the same rhetoric all across the board here. Not aware, Nexi in 2019 put out a cleansing statement. The cannibalization of the traditional value chain via open banking and Ripple. You can find this on your own. It's on the internet. The open banking could lead in the medium/long term to greater market opening and partial disintermediation or cannibalization of the traditional value chain of digital payments. Talks directly in the long term, the evolution of blockchain and distributed ledger technology could lead to the growth of new payments technologies, also able to disintermediate part of the value chain of payment cards. For example, through the use of dedicated cryptocurrencies, so-called stablecoins, now essentially used for international payments. For example, Ripple. Societe Generale CIO, Chief Information Officer, describes the bank's digital strategy. What I found interesting in this is this little snippet here. This is from today. We also keep an eye on the future of our internal startup, Forge, which recently enabled Societe Generale to perform the first worldwide central bank digital currency transaction. We are also leading participants in trade finance ecosystems, such as WeTrade and Comgo for trade commodity finance, which is based on distributed ledger technology. Pay attention to Comgo. Now this is Spur Bank. Spur Bank joins commodity trade finance blockchain platform Congo. This is a Russian bank, Spur Bank, right? Interestingly enough, I got to go to my actual tweet. This is Money Rebel. Money Rebel implementing cross-border transfers with Ripple appears to support Bitstamp, Vanguard, and Spur Bank Russia. Money remit fiat to crypto. We can see their platform. I apologize if this is blurry. I'm sure it is, but this is from a Spur Bank presentation. We can see accounts, Spur Bank, crypto wallet, Bitstamp exchange, Vanguard accounts. We can see Q4 2018 and Q2 2019. So I believe that this is probably all already active. Payment services are Ripple, information messaging, which is Swift. So why would they be using Ripple if they're already using Swift for messaging? And payment transactions, Swift. The MR platform will be using a disruptive blockchain-based service provided by the Ripple protocol. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is the news that always comes out. And this is the news that continues to come out. And it's always interesting when newer news comes out because then you can always tie it back to some of the older information as well. But by engaging the Ripple service, the MR mobile bank customers will have the benefits of almost instant cross-border transfers with the guarantee of the lowest possible fees that are transparent and known upfront. We get it, right? In phase 3, we will connect the functionalities into the Smart MR mobile bank. Fully functional native applications with built-in MR robo-advisor, transaction, money remittance, and then in parentheses, fiat to crypto functionalities. Where do you think this goes, everybody? Where do you think that this is going? Interestingly enough, again, this is Finastra and Ripple's partnership announcement. Now, the platform boasts big clients. This is Fusion LenderCom, which is Finastra was the first to launch a DApp or decentralized application based on Corda with its Fusion LenderCom blockchain solution for syndicated loans. The platform boasts big clients, including BNP Paribas, Natixis, Societe Generale, who we just talked about, and NatWest. All right, this came out today as well. Big Digital Assets Incorporated. Subsidiary blockchain intelligence group launches Ripple XRP and Stellar XLM on the Bitrank verified risk scoring service. And you better believe this ties in with where this is going with regulations as well. Bitrank verified, dealing with cryptocurrency transactions or wallets. Reduce your risk in an instant. Get support you need for cryptocurrency AML, CTF, know your customer, and OFAC efforts. Who they help? RegTech, cryptocurrency exchanges, payment processors, banks, investment funds, ICOs and STOs. This is all going directly where we thought it was going to go. This is Blockchain Intelligence Group. They are tied in with some larger organizations here. They joined the Human Trafficking Intelligence Initiative. There's multiple things here. I'm not going to get deeply into them, but this goes towards regulation as well, okay? Now, this is, again, American Bankers Association urges lawmakers to pass e-sign modernization bill. The bill would update the 20-year-old e-sign act to reflect advancements in technology and shifting consumer preferences. It would remove the current requirement for consumers to reasonably demonstrate that they can access documents electronically before they can receive an electronic version, which ABA noted created obstacles for companies of all sizes during the pandemic. All right. Moving along. Fintech dLocal will get US $200 million funding and will turn into a unicorn. And we all know dLocal is a Ripple partner. Not huge news there, but just wanted to tie that in. This is big news. Banks embrace blockchain to facilitate Belt and Road trade. China and the European Union have both said they will accelerate negotiations in order to conclude a China-EU investment agreement by the end of this year, with its colossal infrastructure project, Belt and Road, at the center of an era of trade and growth for economies and Asia and beyond. Now, Belt and Road Initiative is today's new Silk Road, transcontinental passage that links China with Southeast Asia, South Asia, Central Asia, Russia, and Europe by land. Now, going down into here, one of the greatest challenges to its success will be to overcome the complexity of multi-commodity trading. There are a number of stakeholders, intermediaries, and banks operating together to make deals happen. These deals are massive in value and happen very frequently, with huge amounts of money being transferred across borders to different parties that all use different systems and have different compliance requirements, data storage systems, currencies, and so on. The current system is expensive, slow, and provides customers with almost no transparency. Then it goes in down below to talk about some of the initiatives in place that are going to remedy this slow and expensive and non-transparent system. And we all know what Ripple's doing with cross-border payments, and we are concerned with cross-border settlements as well. All right, Bluezell expands its reach by entering the Polkadot ecosystem. Now, if you're not aware, Polkadot, as we all know, just hopped into the top 10 of the digital asset space. I believe the co-founder of Ethereum is one of the big wigs into that, into Polkadot as well. I do actually have a little bit of Polkadot, not financial advice. I got in before they did the currency peg change, which essentially made, a $250 token or whatever it was, or $200 token into, $2.50. However that shook out. Anyways, not financial advice. Do your own research into Polkadot. But just presenting the news because Bluezell ties directly into Ripple as well. Decentralized data network Bluezell is working with the Web3 Foundation, and we all know Web3 Foundation is Interledger, to provide services to the Polkadot ecosystem. This move will bring distributed storage capabilities to projects building on Polkadot's substrate framework, while advancing Bluezell's goal of becoming the de facto data layer for Web3. Now, interesting, I found this document today, and we all know Bluezell tied into Ripple for integration into Temenos, but it's just an interesting paragraph to represent for you all. Back in May this year, Bluezell Networks, and this is 2017, I believe. Oh, this is 2019. 2019, sorry. Back in May of this year, Bluezell Networks, a payments platform leveraging the Ripple infrastructure, became available through the Temenos marketplace and demonstrated the ease which RTS systems can integrate and run on established yet agile core banking systems. And we have seen it before that integrating with Ripple is, essentially like flipping a switch once you want to, utilize Ripple's systems and software. So, but interesting the verbiage there that Bluezell is leveraging Ripple's infrastructure. All right, Hong Kong's digital banking begins with 8 virtual banks. Hong Kong Monetary Authority, we know that they've got multiple blockchain initiatives going on as well. Hopes to promote fintech innovation. CX, I think, is contextual services. I'd have to look into that. With 8 new virtual banks. Now, these banks are Airstar Bank Limited, Ant, which Ant is a giant, Livy Bank Limited, Fusion Bank, Mox Bank Limited, Ping An One Connect Bank. Now, we know that Ping An, there's a joint venture now between SBI Japan and Ping An, and that is now SBI One Connect, so I am paying attention to this very much so. Remittance companies in the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's crosshairs. This has to do with the remittance rule. This is just talking about a couple of settlements, one settlement and one action. We all know XRP was directly mentioned in that document. More rhetoric here, not stating anything. I don't believe that gold is going to be attached to XRP. However, it's just more rhetoric that we're seeing, and I wanted to present it. Gold and crypto, a match made for crisis investing. This is through Finance Magnates, which is a pretty legitimate news source. All right, also today, and I'm going to wrap this up in a second, XinFin Network will integrate Chainlink oracles to power new trade finance use case. I'm not going to get deep into this, but you can look into this if you want to. We all know that XinFin is tied in with Corda, R3, and we know what's happened with Chainlink over the past few months, obviously, as well. So pay attention to that. The dawn of a new Middle East. Trump celebrates Abraham Accords with White House signing ceremony. I'm not getting political about this at all. I could care less what anybody's political views are, because I'm sure you could care less what mine are. But this is important because I very much so believe that all of these tie-ups that we're seeing between nations that have historically not been too friendly with each other, it's happening, and I believe that a lot of that has to do with the digital ecosystem that's being built globally. And this is Israel, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. So these two states were entering into a normalization pact with Israel now. So pay attention to that. We all know in the MENA region that Ripple is very much so gained a lot of traction. I know I was watching Kevin Cage's video today, and he touched base on that as well. There was an interview. I don't know if it was Sagar Sarpai or not from Ripple, but we know Ripple was very much so tied into the Middle East. Now, China's central bank, this came out yesterday, I believe, is going to obligate accepting the digital yuan as legal tender. And this apparently was an announcement by the deputy governor of the People's Bank of China. So pay attention to that as well. But this news today, this state regulators roll out one company, one exam for nationwide payments firms. Just to wrap this up, this is through the Conference of State Bank Supervisors. This is through this Vision 2020 initiative. This Vision 2020 initiative was accomplished through their fintech panel, which was a big catalyst in getting this vision released and out there as far as the guidance was concerned. And we saw that this CSBS, their Vision 2020, was mentioned directly into the executive order report to Trump. We can see Vision 2020 was directly talked about by Deloitte, who in the same document mentioned Ripple. We can see that right on the FinTech Advisory Board, that Ripple sits on that board for the CSBS as well. And Ripple sat on that board for the document for the executive order to Trump as well. There's too many things that add up here, and that's just my opinion, tinfoil hat or not. I could care less. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just a dude looking up stuff on the internet. I hope you enjoy what I find, and if there's news tomorrow, you will be sure that I will definitely present it. So hope you guys have a great evening and take it easy. Again, don't invest in scams. Later.